Welcome to Grand Pitch Thought So, the video game to movie fancast podcast, with Dan, Brett, and Dave. This podcast will contain detailed plot points and spoilers about numerous video games and movies, both old and new, so listener discretion is advised. And don't forget to rate and review the podcast on iTunes, Podbean, or wherever you download your podcasts from. And feel free to get in touch with us on Instagram and Twitter at GPTSPod and on Facebook at Grand Pitch Thought So. What's up, everybody, and welcome to the next episode of Grand Pitch Thought So, the podcast where we discuss the latest video game and movie news, and then we take a certain video game and work out who should be cast in certain roles and how that film should be made. I am your host, Dan Hewitt, and joining me as always is Brett Amer.
Hello.
And we are not joined by David Adamson today. Unfortunately, he has some professional and personal things going on, so we will see him hopefully soon.
Yeah, and what I've decided is I'm not going to break tradition. I'm going to try and get a few words in there that are going to piss Dave off, basically, because he always seems to take offence to something I've said when he's not here. So I'm going to make sure something gets said.
It's just like for no real reason, just be like, you know what, Silent Hill, it's like a poor man's Resident Evil, isn't it? I wasn't talking about that.
Well, there's a good start. It is though, isn't it?
You're looking at the microphone as if you were looking at Dave, like, can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
With your eyes wide open, lips pursed. It's crap, isn't it, Dave?
Like, no, you're a liar. Right, so it's been has it been two and a bit weeks since we last got together?
I think it's about 2 weeks roughly.
Yeah. I'll start with what I've been up to. Not much really. We'll save Red Dead for afterwards.
Yeah.
I saw Coco, the Pixar film,
Oh, yeah.
which I never saw, but I really wanted to see it. I did enjoy it. It wasn't laugh out loud hilarious. For me, it's kind of right in the middle of the Pixar films. It's like, it's not good. It is good, but it's not great. It's not like a Toy Story.
Is it at least emotional? Like, you know, Pixar films for me, like, they're so well made that they're always either funny, emotional, or just really well put together.
It's. I think it definitely tries to play on the emotion. And I think Stacey found it a little bit emotional. I didn't really, not as much as other things. I think there's something about the fact that it's like it's people.
Right.
Well, I think when it's something like when it's like a bug or a monster or
a toy,
it's a bit more like, I mean, I think there's like Toy Story does a really good job of making you want, like, you really like the characters from Toy Story, whereas in this one I was like, oh, they're all right, but they're just regular people at the end of the day. I mean, some of them are dead, obviously, but at the end of the day, they are regular people. Whereas I think there's something like you're much more attached to like Woody, like being like a neurotic cowboy.
No, some cute character, basically. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And then I watched the Ballad of Buster Scruggs, which is the Coen brothers' new film that's gone straight onto Netflix. And I can see why. It's pretty much what is it? It's on a portmanteau film. Well, I mean, it sort of is. It's like 6 stories, and it's called The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. But Buster Scruggs is only in the first part of the film. He doesn't even narrate the rest of it. It's if you can hear that, that's rain. It's like like a Sleeping Beauty where the book opens and then it like zooms in and then it would fade into like the story. It does that, and like Tim Blake Nelson's Buster Scruggs, and he's going around and he's like singing like these silly tunes, and he's like shooting people and blowing people away and all this stuff, and it's really, really good. And then that character I mean, no spoilers, I mean 15 minutes in, that character dies, and it's no longer about Buster Scruggs,
right?
But the film is still called The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, and then it just becomes about James Franco, and he's got like a little story about him robbing a bank, and then it goes off to someone else, and it's like a story about like how, like, like women would be like, oh, Mr. Amer, you look after me so well, I'll just marry you. And you're like, yes, you'll marry me, yeah. And it's like, and then it goes on to another story that's like effectively the entire Hateful Eight, in the coach. It's just that, but with 5 people. Right. And there's like one guy, I don't know who the actor is.
Just the coach part.
Just them in a coach, just talking to each other. And there's a guy who plays a trapper, literally like exactly like from like Red Dead, a trapper with like the raccoon hat and stuff. Yeah. And he just has like a 10-minute monologue, and it's great. Like, it's really, really good. But I haven't got a clue what it was about. And there was a few other stories, and I think it was about 6 in total.
I mean, it must be quite good for you to still think it's good when you don't know what's happening.
Well, the thing is, there was the first section and the last section were great, but everything in the middle was just like, I can see why this wasn't released in cinemas, because obviously people saw this and went, I don't know what to do with this. Like, who am I marketing this to? It's not Wild West enough to go for the small Western audience, but then it's not funny enough to be a comedy, and it's not gory enough to be a... Actually, the middle section was Liam Neeson as a guy who was travelling around with a man who had no arms and no legs.
Oh.
And he was like quoting like these great big like Shakespearean sonnets, and like you know, like that quote is that I am Ozymandias, King of Kings, and all that stuff. And I was just like, I'm not fully sure what any of this has to do with anything.
Right.
But I really like the bits that I enjoyed, I loved, and the bits that well, to be honest, I did fall asleep at one point. But then I woke up and I enjoyed what I saw.
I'm sure that was just because you were really tired.
Yeah, it was like 3 in the morning when I was watching it.
There we go.
But no, it was all right. It was all right. I mean, when it comes to, it was a Coen Brothers film, so it's not going to be terrible. It was just a bit too odd, probably. And then lastly, I saw The Crimes of Grindelwald.
Oh.
I did not like it.
No.
I did not like it at all.
I didn't like the look of it, if I'm honest.
I thought it was very boring, and then he fell asleep at one point. Johnny Depp is pretty terrible in it.
Right.
He has kind of one action scene, and then he just walks around like doing speeches. And I like, at one hand they totally tip the hat to like, oh no, this guy's Hitler. Like, he doesn't do the killing. He does do a few bits and pieces, but like, he doesn't do the killing. He just gets people like behind him, and they do the killing for him and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, well, okay, I get it. Like, he's Hitler, right? But like, Hitler was obviously way more charismatic than this guy.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, every time he started talking, I was just like, this has got nothing to do with anything. And then like,
let's get Hitler back on.
And I'll tell you the one big thing I had, the one big issue I had. Bring on the Hitler. The one big issue I had was that, and again, this is not kind of I mean, massive like points deducted off the film as a whole, because of its like of its ethos more than anything. I mean, it was boring. The action there wasn't much action, and when it was there, it wasn't really much up to anything. Eddie Redmayne's doing the best he can, but he's not really got nothing to play with, and it's muddled, totally muddled, and it's making people go down certain paths just so they can be like, aha, you weren't expecting that, were you? And it's like, yeah, but if I went down this path, we wouldn't have had to do 40 minutes of running around chasing after monsters. But there's a bit where they will not show the fact that Dumbledore is gay with Grindelwald. They will not show it, but they will show the Holocaust. Right. And I'm like, come on, how many? If you are so scared that people will be like, oh no, gayness, no way am I watching the next film. If you are so scared that people are going to react that way, you've already lost those people, because those people are the same people are like, witchcraft, that's not Christian. I'm not saying that. So you've already lost those people. So why won't you just be like, oh, there's a gay character?
Of course.
I mean, it's a big problem in every franchise, obviously. I think Marvel's only ever had one gay character. It's a problem
with priorities, man. Like, it's obviously the wrong people at the head of it saying, oh, this is what we want to see, this is not what we want to see. You know, it's... They pushed Hitler so hard, they even show us the Holocaust. Right. And then you're like, I get what you're trying to tell me, but there's other sections that are just I've seen the Holocaust. Like, you know, that you can suggest that, and that would be fine enough. But you know,
it just really annoyed me that they were unwilling to admit homosexuality, but they would be like, let's talk about the Third Reich. It's like, why? Right. I thought I was here for Harry Potter goodness.
Yeah. A little bit more lighthearted, kind of.
Yeah, it's and I'm all for the like darkness and all that stuff. I mean, obviously, you know, you can point out how many films have been better when they're dark. The Dark Knight is obviously the first thing that pops up into your head. But it's just like, do you know what another major issue is, right? Everyone in the Harry Potter films, no matter how badass people think they are, they're all pussies. Right. Because they're always like, I can do anything with magic. Look, I'm going to fix my glasses. And you're like, what? Like, no way you'd be out there. You'd be swooning.
I mean, you'd fix your sight before you fix
your sight. You'd be swooning chicks with magic tricks. You'd be like.
Nice rhyme, by the way.
Of course. You'd be like the coolest cat in the house. Like, everyone would be like, oh, that guy there. When he's in town, the parties are banging.
So is this set in the 60s, this film?
No, it's set in the 20s.
Right, okay.
Like, and it feels like it. It makes me feel, it feels depressing depressing. But if we had like magic, like how like in the X-Men, every so often you come across an X-Man who's like just super cool and he's like, oh, I use my mutant powers to be to get chicks and stuff like that. And then you get the other ones who are like, oh, I'm so depressed. I can't kiss anyone. It makes me sad. Oh, yeah. Like, I don't care about those ones. Let's go to the party, guys.
The cool
like,
ones,
I just don't understand why. Like, I would have 2 wands. I'd be like a cowboy, like boom, 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 fighting all kinds of people, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And these guys are just like running around, not using magic.
Yeah.
Like
I've always thought that. Like, I've always thought the possibilities that could happen if you're a wizard,
That's
for
it.
example.
Limitless possibilities.
Just not using the potential at all. There's a lot of wasted potential.
I'd be turning myself into like all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, and then you've got things like the living pictures and stuff like that. And don't waste your time with pictures that can move. Let's
put so much effort into like, oh look, it's a crazy house that moves when you walk around it. And it's like, yeah, but you have a limp.
Let's try and put a stop to global warming, for example.
Oh my
that would
god,
be a good place to start.
unbelievable! Like that major. It, like when you start thinking about it like that, you end up just like getting a nosebleed and having to put the book down. There's so many things here. Like you guys have all the limitless power,
and you're worried about bloody jelly beans that taste like vomit.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the genie in Aladdin being like, "I've got all the power in the world. I'm going on holiday." You're like, "What? You're supposed to save us, genie, not go on holiday."
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. I mean, you were talking about Johnny Depp as well before. Like Johnny Depp for me, just is increasingly disappointing all the time. He used to be so good. He never put a foot wrong.
He is like seconds away from Nick Cage territory. Yeah. He really is.
Yeah.
He's so close.
Absolutely awful, man.
He's like 3 or 4 more bombs away from being straight to DVD.
Yeah.
I
don't even know if it's that far off, man. I mean, obviously this is a big film. Even if it's not the best, it's not going to bomb.
Well, he's got 3 more in his contract.
Yeah, right.
And it's like.
Or 3 more of these in his contract.
Yeah, he has a 5-picture deal.
I didn't even realise they were going to make that many of these.
And
films.
again, that causes issues. I know we've said this before. It's the James Bond scenario. Well, I'm sure 45 minutes into James Bond, James isn't going to get shot in the face.
Yeah.
But you're supposed to enjoy the possibility. Like, let yourself escape. Like, so I know anytime Grindelwald turns up and there's a big fight scene, whoever he's fighting is dying.
Yeah. Okay.
Which doesn't give you any, like, I hope she's okay. Oh, no, wait, she's dead, obviously, because Grindelwald's in all 5 films.
But specifically with Johnny Depp, like you say, he's making terrible film after terrible film. He now, throws phones at girls, that kind of thing. He's
allegedly.
Yeah, well, okay, allegedly, okay.
For legal reasons, we must say allegedly.
He's a bit of a bastard either way. He's allegedly a bastard.
Allegedly a bastard. And you never know. Like it could have been mistakes happen. He was with that French lady for his partner Vanessa Paradis. Yeah. They were together for 20-odd plus years, and she was like, he never ever did anything at all.
Again, though, that he was making good films at that point. Like he was, that's what he was.
And he does look. I mean, he's 60 years old, and he's clearly still doing a lot of drugs. Yeah, clearly. So it is.
It's the Hollywood vampires that he's part of, isn't it? That's his group.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. But again, like, why would you hire someone? Why would you give someone who's 60 a 5-picture deal? They could drop it any second. Especially when they're in a band.
Especially when he's definitely
a vampire.
Hitting the drugs.
He's definitely a vampire.
In terms of what I've watched, not a lot at all, really. I haven't really had a lot of time even to play Red Dead as much as I'd like. Mm-hmm. So when I have had a chance, that's what I've been doing. I've been watching things in between, mainly Netflix stuff or stuff that I've already seen.
Oh, actually, I watched 2 episodes of Big Mouth.
Oh yeah, that's great.
I did not enjoy it.
Oh really?
Yeah,
there's just series though, man.
The first 2 episodes. Yeah. It's the same with Rick and Morty. I see all the jokes. I hear them all. I just don't laugh.
Really, I honestly think you benefit from pushing through. Because I didn't
tell that to my first wife.
Hey, that's the kind of stuff that you hear in Big Mouth. I didn't like it completely at first, but like by the second series, I loved it.
Yeah. It's something weird. There's loads of things that people are always like, "You'd love this," and I'm like, I hated it. Not hated it.
I'm very surprised at Rick and Morty, man.
Yeah, it just for some reason it just doesn't work. But yet The Simpsons still now. Every episode hits me.
I mean, you can't beat Homer Simpson.
No, you can't.
Really.
He's
the top dog.
I will be very, very sad when that ends.
Yeah,
it will end. I mean, even if
I think it's pretty close after the whole Apu stuff and every episode. Like, you seem to get people complaining about it constantly now.
Well, they've sacked the composer as well.
Yeah.
He just lost his job.
What, Danny Elfman?
No, Alf Clausen.
Right.
He's done every single, other than the theme tune, he's done every other tune. Right. And apparently he's got like 120-piece orchestra or something like that. And I'm like, nah, that's too expensive.
Mm.
Well, didn't three of the main characters quit for like 6 months, and then they worked a deal out and they brought them back.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of craziness going on with the
obviously Apu's got completely chucked out of it now.
Well, that's the thing, and the rumour is that he's gone completely, and that's it.
Yeah.
They're not even going to replace him.
No, that's it, because the Hank Azaria, he actually said that he is wanting to stop doing it all again. If it's upsetting people, he's going to stop doing it.
I just don't know why they just don't bring in another... Just bring in an Indian actor and say, Apu's quit, here's whoever, and then just have him like look pretty similar, maybe have to be exactly the same.
Or even if you have Apu and just say, like, listen, this isn't a man doing a parody of an Indian man, it's, you know. But then again, actually, I think that's too far gone, isn't it, really?
Well, I mean, Family Guy got rid of, like, Cleveland.
Yeah.
And they've managed just to keep going, and they bring in other characters and stuff like that, so you could easily do
they got rid of Cleveland for that reason, did they?
Well, he had his own show.
He did. I'm sure it was like 4 series as well.
And then for the longest time, it was just the 3 of them. Yeah. And then every so often, Cleveland would turn up.
Yeah.
Because the guy who does the voice is also the guy who does the voice of Herbert.
And
so the only reason Cleveland was gone was literally so he could have another TV show.
Apu wasn't even as like
it's not like he's
a main character Cleveland was, because obviously there's about 1 million characters in The Simpsons. Mm-hmm. So I mean, unless you're actually one of the Simpsons, then
he's like a Frink. Or a Krusty, Krusty the Clown kind of thing, where it's like he's not in every episode, but he might be in like, you know, it might be in 15 of the 20.
Because there's obviously, you know, there's nowhere near the amount of characters in Family Guy than there is in The Simpsons. He's still got a lot more. Like,
plus as well, it's like even now it's like okay, so, but who cares? There's still like 30 years worth of episodes that he's in. So what are you going to do? Just ban them? Yeah. You can't do anything with them. You know, they're going to be stuck in the minds of every single person who isn't like 5 and under.
Do you know something I really don't understand as well, though? The amount of crap that The Simpsons gets when it's relatively
tame.
Yeah, it's very tame compared to
family friendly.
Compared to like your Rick and Morty, your South Park is the one that sticks in mind the most. In fact, they were able to do a parody of the documentary The Problem with Apu. They actually did an episode in the latest series called The Problem with Apu, which is about Mr. Hanky, and he starts saying a lot of offensive things to people and stuff like that. It's a parody of that, and they were able to do that. You know, you don't hear anything about any complaints about that.
And I think that's the thing is that because The Simpsons has went where for families, where you know, where 12 and under, you know, with a few raunchy jokes every so often, because they've went for the family market, they've opened themselves up to like whatever, like the mum's net.
Yeah, but you say that as if I didn't watch South Park since I was 8.
Well, that's true, but South Park is definitely aimed at 18 plus, but it's also aimed at like 8-year-olds who sneakily watch it.
Well, it absolutely is. I don't know if you know this, but South Park is always made
6 days,
week by week, like 6 days.
Was it? It's the documentary called like 6 Days in Hell.
That rings a bell. That rings a bell. But because of that, they're always doing really topical things, and it tends to be things like the release of a game, which obviously, you know, is going to interest a lot of kids. It's quite often like about kids buying games.
Oh, you know, Basketball's just come back on Netflix.
I watched it the day. I watched it like the day after.
I watched 25 minutes and I was like, this is not as funny as I remember. and then when they started doing it proper, I was like, okay, it's pretty funny. Yeah. And I was just like, I remember absolutely howling at that as a child, and then I watched it back now and I'm like, it's kind of stupid.
It's alright.
It's kind of stupid.
It's what.
But there's no like it just starts like they immediately like within seconds they make up the game, and then all of a sudden it's like the biggest sport in America.
And then it's just about the league of basketball. The thing that surprised me about it watching it again is that how corny it is. Like it's, you know, it's the amount of things that South Park they make out of like for things being corny. It's very, very corny.
Yeah. Is that was 1998? So they must have got South Park pretty soon after that. Or before, surely. I
think it was just before they got. It was like the year before they got South Park, because he does the Cartman voice when he's taking the mic.
Oh, okay. I wonder if. So I wonder if maybe they filmed it, because it came out in '98, so they probably filmed it in '97. So maybe it was some sort of level of crossover.
Maybe.
And by that point, they were like, "Oh no."
And you're seeing that South Park was kind of born out of like a pilot thing they did years before.
That's true. Because
So
they did
kind of they both
Orgasmo as
existed.
well. They did Orgasmo before that, and
and
I remember them saying like I remember watching a documentary about classification, and when they went into the MPAA with Orgasmo, they were like, "Nah, X-rated."
Yeah.
And they were like, "But there's nothing like."
It's just because the name of it and the fact that it's
like
set,
they were
like
like pornography's X-rated, nothing like what are we talking about? And they were like, no, it's X-rated. End of. No
it's
questions.
like it doesn't actually contain pornography. You know, it doesn't actually have any pornographic scenes.
And then when they took South Park, they were like, okay, guys, here's some notes if you want to get it down to a PG-13. And they were like, what? Like last time we were here, you gave us an X and gave us nowhere else to go, and they were like, yeah.
And this one actually contains a lot of swearing, and you know.
Yeah, it seems to be this, if you're a low budget film, like they didn't want to help them at all, but because it was South Park and they liked them, they really wanted to help them.
Of course,
so they were like, why would we try and get a PG-13 for South Park?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Not what I wanted at all. That's one extreme to the other.
It's the exact opposite, in fact. I mean, Saddam Hussein's having sex with Satan in this film. Like, what are you talking about? PG-13.
Brilliant.
So let's get into it. What, if anything, as you say, we've been busy, have you done in Red Dead?
In Red Dead?
In Red Dead this week.
Well, in Red Dead, I'm not going to give any details at all.
No spoilers. Neither of us have finished the story.
It's going to be. I have finished.
You have
the
finished
story.
it. I'm only in chapter 3. I've only done 2 or 3 missions in chapter 3. I'm still just going around scalping the crap out of things.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm still doing.
So that's what you're hunting and skinning, that kind of thing.
Yep, and trying to do the thing of you've got to beat the dealer with 5 cards in blackjack.
Oh yeah.
I've spent $6 doing that. Right. Now bear in mind, 2 cents a hand, and I've spent $6 and not beat them once.
Yeah.
So that's not fun.
So is $6 a lot of money for what you have?
Oh no, I got like $3,000.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Is that of selling pelts and stuff?
I did all the treasure maps.
Right. Okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah. Because my big issue is that I find that I've done a lot of stuff. And then challenges come along and I'm like, I've already done all that. Like, why can't you like retrospectively say, oh, I've realised you've already done all that? Because there's a lot of things like, there was one that really annoyed me. Like there was like a Dominoes one, which I'd already...
is it 3 games of Dominoes?
Which I'd already done.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I've got to go and do it all again.
It's really hard. When you've actually got the challenge to do it, it all of a sudden becomes 100 times harder.
And I find that it does things like you'll win your first hand or whatever, no bother. First game or something like that, and then all of a sudden your second game it takes 45 minutes to beat, and you're like, I could have been doing so much other stuff.
I know.
But if I don't do this, I will scream at everyone I see.
Yeah, yeah. How far into it? You said you are still you've got quite a high percentage considering.
Yeah, so my percentage is 50%.
Yeah,
and my story is still 20 something.
Right, yeah, that's pretty good.
Maybe 28%.
Because there's so much to do outside of the story as well.
I've only caught 1 legendary animal.
Right.
I did spend a lot of time fishing for one, and I could see it, and it never ever bit. So I bow and arrowed it.
Right.
And then I went out to get it, and it swam away. The tide took it away from me, and it couldn't grab it. And I was like, forget this game. Like, they're the moments where I'm like, it's so lifelike that I'm furious, because it's like that would happen to me. Like I would spend an hour trying to catch a fish, finally kill it, and then I would accidentally push it into the sea and be like, well, it's gone.
Yeah. Well, like I say, I've finished the main story. There's more after the main story that follows, but like obviously the main part of it is done, and it's just so good. Like, and you know for a fact, I'm not giving away any information here at all, but you know that it's a Rockstar game. It's been noted by quite a lot of people as the best story ever in a game. So you know it's going to build up to like emotional kind of thing. Yeah. And that's exactly, honestly, it's not just the best story I've seen in a game. It could be one of the best films ever. It's absolutely brilliant, and it made it really hard for me because I played the last episode, the last like mission, through misty eyes. It's just so emotional, man. It's like it just grabs you so well. It's better than any film could. It's so more like sort of you got more so much more invested.
Yeah, well, because at this point, this is going to be. I'm normally a guy who gets a game and just blasts through it. Like I'll do as many side missions as I can as I go through the main missions, because this one is specifically like they're not side quests, they are like the challenges.
Yeah, you'd
Like-
think that there were missions that do everything so like well that everything's like part
everything.
of the game.
Like it took me I had to do rock the rock paint the rock like statue things.
Oh yeah.
It took me like that was a full day of like doing nothing else but riding around looking for stuff.
Looking for rock stuff.
The dinosaur bones, I've got 20 odd of them. There's the dream catchers, I got all of them.
It amazes how different your games can be as well, because you're saying this. I've never seen one dream catcher. I've got one dinosaur bone.
Yeah, but in the middle of the Heartlands, that's where I think all the side quests are kind of in the middle of the Heartlands, and then they just all the challenges and whatnot. There's a guy in a cabin who gave me the rock thing, and then I did it. It took like a full day to do. Like I'm talking like 6 hours, and then I did it. And then I got no no major spoilers here, but I got nothing. I didn't get like a thanks partner. Here's my gun. Yeah. I got like a strange dream sequence, and then that was it.
Right.
I got a tick in the box, and I was like, not even like $1.
Yeah.
not even $1.
Strange dream sequence, was it involving a deer?
No, it was involving a baby.
Oh right, okay. Oh well. Say no
Again,
more.
but then there could be different things for different people.
Say no more. Yeah, well, absolutely. Well, I haven't done that.
Mm-hmm.
But just when you mentioned dream sequences, it tips something off in the
super weird
in the kind of story, you know. But obviously it's going to be a completely different thing.
But I really like it. I am like thoroughly enjoying it. There has been some. I do keep racing my horse straight into trees.
Yeah,
that does keep happening.
Everyone does that. Every single person I've talked to, that's one of the first things they mention.
And there was one time when it fell down a hill and it started to roll, and I was like, this horse is gonna die.
Yeah.
And I did get to the point where I had to revive it. But I've got as you find yourself, you end up with full of everything because you don't like all the health cures and the stimulants and all that stuff. I don't touch them. I'm like eat this celery, now eat this apple, now eat some hay. Whereas I could just give it a portion. But for some reason, despite the fact you can pick up everything so readily available because you keep robbing places all the time, I'm still just like, nah, I'll keep going even though I've got like this much health. Rather than eat a single apple, I'll be like, nah, just keep going.
Just keep it.
I'll risk getting shot in the face.
Trying to watch me figure.
Well, that's the thing. My guys, they were like, oh, your horse and you are both underweight. And I'm like, well, I'm having stew every bloody day.
Aye. Oh, it's really hard to keep the weight up, man. I've only seen because you can get overweight on it. I've only seen that online. I've seen it on somebody posted on Reddit. I don't know how you could even do that unless you specifically sit there for a full in-game day and just eat.
I feel like if there was something where it was like if he said out loud, "Oh God, I'm starting," like you heard like a rumble of your stomach, something like that, then I would be more likely to do it.
Yeah.
But it's only ever if you go out of your way to go.
Press pause, go to player, go to
or go to a hotel room and then look at the mirror and just keep looking until he says something about his figure.
Yeah.
It was you end up just.
Or even something flashed up on the screen to say, eat.
Yeah,
eat some fucking food.
Well, even the thing with the stamina, I've only ever had the stamina once, where something, I don't know how long I've been playing, but it was like the middle of the night, in game time, and I was running, and he just collapsed,
right,
and his stamina was empty, and I was like, this guy needs to go to sleep. But he just collapsed, and of course I collapsed on a hill, and he just slid down face first, or getting his face all cut up.
So does it let you get up and then run to?
Yeah, well, you just have to get as long as you're away from a main road, you can set up camp.
I must be alright with the whole sleeping thing because the only time that's ever happened to me is when I was swimming, which wasn't good.
You just collapsed in the river.
Just stopped.
It is just a genius game.
Yeah, it's just so true to life almost.
And it's annoying because it's Black Friday. I don't know if you've seen, but there's loads of deals on right now. So I think at August or something, you can get that new Spider-Man game that's only been out a couple of months for £21. £21,
nice.
And you can get and then I think there's Horizon's £15. There's loads of great deals on, and it's like I can't justify it because I've got to keep playing Red Dead. So I think it's probably going to keep me going until probably that's more things falling over. And Red Dead Online starts at the end of this month.
Oh yeah.
So I think I'll probably do about a month of that, and then after that, I think I'll stop.
It depends for me on how many other people are going to be on it. If it was probably
It depends on me
People
if they're going to do it like GTA, where there's actually like there's still a story.
There must be. There's bound to be.
I would have thought so because in GTA Online when it first started they didn't have that, and they learned from people saying like this is just effectively a sandbox.
Yeah.
And then they were like, okay, well let's put missions in. So I'm sure it's going to effectively have a second story mode.
What's good about this as well, though, I think they do actually take things like that on board. And the main complaint you get about Grand Theft Auto Online is Grand Theft Auto 5 is that they didn't have any single player DLC, and that's the main complaint you hear about from people. So I think, as well as missions in Red Dead Online, you're also going to get some single player expansions as well.
Yeah, I've got a sneaky suspicion they might do a zombie thing or something like that. I think they might just be like, well, let's just do it again.
Yeah.
Or maybe something different, but like a total extra side.
I heard someone mention aliens.
That would be good.
It would be good because obviously they've alluded to aliens in Grand Theft Auto. There's like you've got the markings and stuff like that in Red Dead as well. So I think that would
be a good idea. I would like that. Just pay 10 quid, 10, 15 quid and get another thing. I like that. Well, before we wrap up the housekeeping, I've remembered. What does your person look like? I'll tell you what my guy looks like. He's got, is it pomade? Pomade.
Yeah. He's
got pomade hair, slicked back, and he's got an absolutely huge moustache.
Right.
Pure revolver ocelot.
Ah, nice.
That's what he looks like.
I haven't mulled mine off any people in particular. He's got 9 hair, so he's got really long hair, and then he's got the longest moustache and beard everywhere apart from the chin, where he's got almost the shortest. So it goes down. I'm trying to think of who that looks like, but it's.
It feels like it must be a wrestler or something like that.
It almost looks like there's a massive handlebar moustache, but it goes up the side as well.
Oh, is that the guy from The Walking Dead? Didn't he have that?
Yes.
The ginger guy.
Oh, I tell you who it looks like is Lemmy from Motorhead.
Ah, yes. Yeah, all the way around. Wonderful. Yeah, I've got like 1 or 2 on the sides, huge moustache, completely clean in the middle. Just got bit stubs. But have you noticed now that like it took forever to get your hair to length 10 or whatever to grow it? I was drinking hair tonic like it was going out of fashion. And now when I come back on after I've left it a couple of days, his beard's grown in real time, and I'm like, now hang on. When I was logging in all the time, it wasn't growing.
Yeah.
But if I don't play him for a day, I come back, it's got a huge beard. I'm like, I'm gonna pay 17 cents to get this trimmed. It's unacceptable, that.
Out of your $3,000, you've got to pay 17 cents.
Don't like it. Don't like this game. Take it back, Rockstar. Well, anyway, let's get into some news, and we'll see how this goes.
Lovely.
Right, so for the first part of the news section, we're going to be looking at a trailer. So we'll call this live reactions, and then we'll get like a live reactions.
I'm not sure how much of a reaction you're going to get from me, to be honest, mate.
So we'll see what. So we've got Detective Pikachu, which is of course something from obviously from our childhood.
If I don't have a real reaction, I'll feign one for you. Okay.
We'll just do it. Just speak through it. So I mean, so effectively, you've got the Pokemon already. So I mean, has the bubble not burst on this? Do you think?
Pokemon.
Yeah.
In general.
I mean, like, this is obviously aimed at our generation with Pikachu and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it seems strange that they've decided to do this.
Do you know the reason why I think they did this is because, obviously, Pokemon was a big thing. It came back. But when it came back to this generation, obviously people had gripes about it. People are starting to say that it promotes, trapping animals and keeping slaves and stuff like that.
Right,
people found something to complain about, and I think this is to do that. They're giving it a voice, and he's not his own person. Alright, so you can understand.
So I mean, what do you? So effectively, the idea is that he's the only person who can speak to
Pikachu.
Yeah, and everyone else hears him as just saying Pika Pika.
Right.
But I mean, what do you think of that voice?
I mean, it's just Deadpool, isn't it? Really, it's just Deadpool in a cute.
But everyone they interviewed
package.
was like, I think another person they interviewed for the role was The Rock.
Right.
So they weren't looking for anyone they weren't looking for a childish voice. They were all looking for
they're just looking for
men's
someone
voices.
who'll make you laugh, basically, like a funny voice. But the thing that gets me about it is that it's just like it's not the same as Marvel or that kind of thing where you can make different stories about it. Pokemon is Pokemon. It's about the Pokemon now that it's making it a completely different
and
thing.
This isn't even like he's going around trying to catch them all.
Yeah.
They're trying to solve a crime.
Yeah.
And like it just seems to be that Pikachu's just wearing a cap.
Aye.
And that's it.
It's just it seems like the mad kind of thing you think of when you're stoned, for me.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know. I'm not going to think too much about it because it's obviously it's just meant to be lighthearted and kind of funny, and
it's a classic Grand Prix thought, so it's very Japanesey.
Yeah, it's just not. It's not meant to be serious. You're not meant to take it seriously. But
I get a sneaky feeling that it will probably do quite well.
Yeah.
I think it's just the thing have gone about it the right way.
Well, when they released it, they put it on Facebook and they share it about. They're trying to make it viral. That's obviously the angle they were going for. I'm just not
100% sold on. No, I just don't think that Ryan Reynolds' voice coming out of that small yellow body just fits perfectly.
So, live casting, who would you have put as the voice?
Oh, God. I don't know. Something, for me, I feel like it should just still be Pika Pika.
Right. So I would put Gilbert Gottfried.
Oh, God. Yeah, that raspy, like...
Or the parrot from Aladdin.
Yeah. Oh my God! Like, oh God, every word he says I'll be like, oh God, just shoot this Pikachu.
Yeah, but I don't know if you've ever watched Gilbert Gottfried stand up before. It's hard to get through. Yeah, after a while, it's like, why are you still shouting?
He was in I remember when the only other obviously he's been loads of things, but the one thing I really remember him in is Look Who's Talking.
Oh yeah.
He plays like the head of a creche. Yeah. He's in about 2 minutes of the film, but he's in all 3 films.
Aye.
And he's like, "Oh my God, children, let's go!" And you're like,
once he's off the screen, you're like, "Oh God, I'm glad that's over."
Like, why did you cast him for this non-role? You must have paid him like $50,000 to turn up and be like attacked by children. So
I suppose it's funny to watch him get attacked by children. To be fair.
Oh well, but it's. I'm sure I've seen that he does live stand up, and he's not exactly like he's not family friendly.
No.
So
definitely.
It's very
I've
odd.
seen him do a joke about Jack and the Beanstalk, and I'm sure it probably only took about 3 minutes to tell, but it felt like an hour.
And you were at that live show, were you not?
I was there, just falling asleep. Well, I couldn't possibly fall asleep actually.
So this very well could be the most successful video game movie ever. Because it is based on a video game called Detective Pikachu. Now the problem is, I'm sure they'll twist it to say, nah, not really, it's based on a card, which is based on a cartoon, which is based on a video game, which is based on blah 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 blah. But I don't know, it looks...
Because people want to try and get away from video game movies as much as
because
possible.
of the curse.
Yeah.
But obviously if this does well, then maybe they'll say, okay, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
But
maybe.
This could be the first ever proper good one.
Maybe, but I don't think it's going to make a huge amount of difference to the world of video game movies, to be honest with you.
Probably not. I think what we need is something like an Uncharted or a Last of Us.
Absolutely.
That's what it needs.
Like a definite, like, no doubt about it game.
Well, like in the comic book world, there was Superman, and then it took them like another 10 years to do Batman, and then it took them another 10 years to do Spider-Man, and then once they did Spider-Man, people were like, we've nailed the formula.
X-Men as well, I think. Was
X-Men was like the next year, and then I think the year after Spider-Man 2 came out, and then all of a sudden Daredevil came out, and obviously that's not a good one, but like the floodgates opened, and I think obviously from then in the last 20 years they've worked out how to actually do them properly, and you still get bad ones.
But the problem with that is that the comic book world started off with Superman, whereas the game world started off with Super Mario Brothers. Well,
there was actually, it's not in the news, but the guy Chris Renard, I think it is, or Pierre Coffin, one of the two, was talking about how Illumination, who do Despicable Me, they're doing Super Mario Brothers with a movie as a cartoon.
Couldn't possibly make another live action film.
And one of the things the guy said was like, "Oh, I'm glad that it bombed, because then I've got like people will then, if I do a good job, then it's all good." Yeah. If they made that when was it 1990? And then people loved it, then people would be like, "Oh, why are you remaking it?"
Be more pressure on them to.
But now I'm like, well, it can't be any worse than this, can it? Yeah. Can't be any worse than Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo.
I think making it a cartoon and obviously the better technology they have now, they could make it, as if you're watching the game play out. But I think they could make it really good. It could be brilliant.
And that's Universal own Illuminations, and then obviously Universal are doing a Nintendo Land in America and Japan, so that'll then cover all that. So it'll all just circle in. It's all about making money.
Nice.
It's all about making that green.
Is it going to be the same guy doing Mario's voice?
Oh my god, I would love it. If it was just like, here we go. It's all he said. It's just like,
it's a me.
No, but what tool do you need?
Mario.
Like, what? Luigi speaks normally. I have a translate for him. He has issues.
The only thing is, I think I prefer something like Disney Pixar to do it rather than Illumination, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of Disney. I prefer Disney to Illumination. I think Illumination has not been as good as those first Despicable Me
was it was absolutely. And the first one in particular.
I haven't seen The Grinch, and I'm probably not going to until it comes out. I hear like it's fine reviews, which is kind of the same review that the Jim Carrey one got was it's fine.
Yeah.
But you never know. So that was a long one. So story number 2, Stan Lee's dead.
He certainly is. I knew that.
That guy gets a hardcore R.I.P.D.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's obviously something that we can't really address too much, but it's just something that has to be addressed that he did.
Yeah, man, it's a massive shame. But also, he's 95, man.
Mm-hmm. He had a good run, and I know that he's already recorded. There's a animated Spider-Man film. He's recorded a cameo for that. And
what is in the
is it
Spider-Verse or something?
Yeah. And then he's already done his Avengers 4 and Captain Marvel cameos, I believe. So he's already so his last role will be Avengers 4. Yeah. So that's nice.
So what I'd like to see is them to carry on doing the cameos somehow. Say it's like a radio's playing and you can hear his voice in it, or there's a portrait of him somewhere.
Or do like the Star Wars Rogue One and just have him have someone looking at a mirror, and then if you look in the mirror you can see the reflection is. Yeah. And then he just turns and starts talking to the camera, and you're like, it's a Stan Lee.
Maybe not too close.
Stan Lee's back.
Maybe not too close to the bone like that, but little subtle ones.
I think they'll do. I think they'll do like in Big Hero 6. Isn't there's like pictures on the because it's Marvel Big Hero 6. But there's a picture of Stan Lee as like a painting on the wall. Yeah. I think they'll do things like that, like Tony Stark will have a picture up and it'll just be like him shaking Stan Lee's hand or something like that, just in the background. Yeah. I think he's going to be in every single film still somehow, like you say on the radio or something like that.
Yeah, that would be good.
But I think they could, if they wanted to, it would be like CGI his face onto someone else's face.
Yeah,
which is
but I think again,
it's a bit gross.
Yeah, it is, because I mean, fair enough, like you say in Star Wars, but that's actually a main. That's
they were trying to do scenes,
but if you can't really do that with a cameo.
Hi, I'm Stan Lee.
Hi, everybody.
I was outside smoking a J.
I'm back.
And I was like, I saw a spider. So I said, Spider-Man. That's my idea.
Did you miss me?
What are you, some kind of spider boy?
So now Stan Lee is a 50s gangster.
No, that's definitely how he spoke in the 50s. He's definitely no matter what anyone. He is a Walt Disney. He was a magical guy and all this stuff. But when he was young, he was cutthroat because you had to be. Yeah. Because the other guy would slit your throat if you didn't slit his.
DC.
And that's just how it goes. Walt Disney stood on a lot of people's necks to get where he was, and the guy has made more fantastic memories for billions of children than we ever will.
So you're explaining why Stan Lee sounds like Wario in the impressions we're doing.
You see, I was chatting with Mario, and I was thinking, hey, Mario, you should have another one. Wario, yeah, that'll do. It's like, I invented Wario, He's like, no, you didn't, Stan. That lamp, I built that lamp. He's like, you're just pointing at things.
Come on, Stan.
He's going to see now.
Let's go home.
He's going to see now in his old age. Yeah, but again, top guy. Yeah. Top dog. Mm-hmm. Now, here's another one.
Do you know what I hate, by the way? Silent Hill.
Don't say Stan Lee.
Silent Hill. It's just like a kind of cheap Resident Evil kind of thing, isn't it?
Like a knockoff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. So anyway, next question. Next story. We've got 2 castings in Star Wars The Mandalorian, the TV show. Oh, yeah. So Pedro Pascal will play the Mandalorian, who is the guy from Narcos. Right. Yes, I think so. And then Gina Carano will play an unnamed role, but she's the second person to be cast. Right. So she could play I'm going to assume she's like another bounty hunter. Okay. Something like that. So that's coming together. That's $100 million spent on I think it's 10 episodes.
I'm sure it's well spent.
Well, it's Jon Favreau and he hasn't made a bad film yet, so...
I like Jon Favreau. Obviously made the first Iron Man, didn't
He did, and the second one, which isn't a great film, but it's still a good film.
he? Yeah, it's not a bad.
It's still like a Marvel, even a Marvel like 3 out of 10 film is still a 6 out of 10 film when you compare it to other stuff.
That's true.
Toy Story 4 is coming back.
Oh yes, I was really surprised at that, man. They closed it off so well in Toy Story 3.
So this one, I've seen 2 different kind of stories. The first story is that Woody's having like a crisis of, he's having like a midlife crisis effectively, and decides to go on like a road trip with his friends. And then I've seen another thing that says that he's going to try and find little Bo Peep.
Oh right, okay.
So I'm guessing it's probably going to be a mix of the two, that he has a midlife crisis and then decides I'm going to go and find her, and they go on a journey together, the group. And there's also like another a new character called Forky, who is or Sporky.
Is he just going to be a Spork?
He's a spork who's got like a thingy, like a, is it pipe cleaner, like arms and legs.
Oh, was he in the the review, like the teaser trailer?
So it's supposed to be like they're going to be doing a whole thing about like how he's not really a toy, but because he's been made, he doesn't know.
Because I seen the teaser trailer, and I thought he was just going to be like a joke. He wasn't actually in the film.
No, I think it's like I think he's going to play a major role in making Woody be like, well, what is this? Because she's effectively created life by putting pipe cleaners around a spork. So I don't know. It's again, it's always going to be, there'll be like heavy kind of things around it, but in reality, we're just going there to see Woody shout at Buzz.
So heavy issues
on like, when is it right to create life? Yeah. Stem cell research. Yeah. But in reality, it's like, no, I just want to see like Mr. Potato Head get like slapped on the back of the head so his nose falls off.
Let's play some more of them songs that we're used to hearing in that as well. Randy, what's he called?
Randy Newman.
Yes. Let's play some more Randy Newman songs and have some more hilarity.
I'm sure I bet no one pushed harder for a Toy Story 4 than he did.
Yeah.
I never hear his music being played on the radio.
No, I think there's 1 or 2 80s films that you might hear it on. Like they've got I Love LA. That's a good song, man.
That's I think that's in every Naked Gun film. And then this is the last one. So the Castlevania cartoon.
Yes,
it's on Netflix. Well, in series 3, Devil May Cry is going to join, and it's going to be a shared universe.
Is that a thing that's been done before?
I think there's been anime Devil May Cry DVDs.
Yeah.
But it's like it's Hollywood like transition is it's going to be in the Castlevania.
Well, what I mean is it like, has there been any connection to the two things? Oh before, no, in the game or anything.
The guy who bought the rights to Castlevania and then sold the idea to Netflix bought the rights to Devil May Cry.
Right.
And he said he bought them to stop some stupid Hollywood studio making a bad film.
Right. Okay.
So he's bought them.
So then he's going to combine. Well, just own them separately. They don't have to be combined.
Well, I think it's the thing of it's a guy called Adi Shankar, and what he does is he makes like effectively really really good fan films.
Right. Okay.
And then he uses that fan film to convince people to give him money to do other things. So he did like remember a while back there was this like a gritty Power Rangers short film. He made that, and that's what Legendary Pictures were like. Oh, we should reboot Power Rangers because this guy did a really good short film, and then they never actually I don't think they actually paid him to do it.
Oh, right, okay.
And they got someone else to do it.
Yeah. Oh, I do remember seeing that short film. Yeah.
And then I think, and it's the same thing probably with that, with what we might be talking about soon, the Uncharted short film, where probably someone did it, and then that'll lead to that guy probably being like, "Oh, we saw that short film you did with Nathan Fillion. Do you want to do another like?" Do you want to do a feature film, but obviously not Uncharted, but you might want to do.
It's quite an odd
young
thing.
Indiana Jones.
It's quite an odd thing that though, isn't it? It's a really weird way to go about things.
Because it's knowing that you cannot make a profit and trying to get like Hollywood talent involved.
Yeah, investing something into
investing like £50,000 of your own money
and a lot of time,
effort, knowing that you cannot possibly make money, but you might get a second job out of it. It's risky. But for this guy, it's worked out.
He's getting a lot of publicity.
So Devil May Cry will soon be in Castlevania, and then that might lead to
Are you excited about that then?
I'm not, because I don't watch the Castlevania cartoon, and even if I did, this wouldn't be what gets me. I'll start watching it from episode 1. Yeah. I would be excited if he pulled out a Devil May Cry movie, all day long, but. I already don't like TV, and I already don't like I don't really like the anime style. It just doesn't sit right for some reason with me. I just don't like the way it looks.
Right.
I just prefer kind of, Animaniacs.
Oh yeah.
When's the Animaniacs reboot happening? God damn it! Where's my gritty R-rated Animaniacs reboot?
I cut you off as well. Sorry, you said it might lead to what?
I'm hoping it leads to a feature film, like a proper. I hope there's like, oh yeah, Castlevania. This Castlevania thing's doing amazing. Let's do a Castlevania / Devil May Cry movie.
Or they could do a Castlevania / Devil May Cry game. Devil May Cry game.
They could. They're doing Devil May Cry. What are we on? 5 now?
5, I think it is. Yeah.
Because the thing with Devil May Cry is, I'm beyond sure that Devil May Cry is on our list, but the story is very complicated.
Yeah.
Because out of nowhere, like partway through the second, because the second now, am I right in thinking the second one's a prequel, but the third one's a sequel, something like that.
Yeah.
And then like Virgil turns up, and I'm like, well, who's Virgil? And then Nero turns up, and I'm like, I thought you were called Virgil, and I'm just like, I don't like any of this. I just like Dante.
Yeah, I mean,
and Trish, like Trish is like gone from after the first film and replaced with just another chick.
Yeah,
and you're like, but this is a prequel, so you're probably gonna die because you're not in the first one.
Yeah, well, it's one of them ones where I've never been able to follow it. Even playing the first game. Like, too much happens for you to be able to just follow it completely. And also, it's a very action-packed game where
it's very Japanesey. Me don't like it.
You don't want to sit through the cutscenes, really. You want to get to slashing people. And this is another thing that's going to piss Dave off as well. I skipped through the cutscenes because I think it's crap.
I mean, I've got massive... I must have played Devil May Cry 4, 5, 6 times just... Beat it, completed it, loved it, absolutely loved it.
Oh, it was a great game.
But I really, really do not have a clue what was going on, other than the whole idea of there's someone coming, we have to stop him by killing loads of monsters, and then in the end, wasn't it his dad? Yeah. And then it was actually, the twist was that the dad was actually the goodie trying to stop the baddie, but you thought he was actually the baddie. Even that's I think I got too complicated.
Yeah, definitely. I think I got that kind of bit. But the thing that I loved about it is just how fast paced it was. Faster than any other game that came out.
Because what was it? Square was shoot, and triangle was the sword. And it was like
you could do both simultaneously and everything. You could be jumping up, then shooting in the air, and then slashing as you're going down. And the combinations were just brilliant. And then
you'd get a rating, and you'd be like D, and you got delicious. And you see competent, and you're like, what? That's not as good. It's delicious.
I'd rather be delicious than competent.
But I really enjoyed Devil May Cry.
Yeah.
But I just, like I say, I'll be interested to see who they cast as the voice.
Yeah.
I think that might be interesting. But they'll probably just hire a really good voice actor.
I don't think it'll be anyone in particular sort of big. I don't think.
But that's definitely something that we should get around to casting probably when we should do that episode once that series comes out.
Yeah.
Because that'll definitely hit hard. And that's about it. Not a lot this week. I mean, there has been other bits and pieces, but nothing really major. I think we've covered everything. The last thing I saw just before we started was a picture of Mila Jovovich and Tony Jaa on the set of the Monster Hunter movie.
Right.
And Tony Jaa has a sword, you said, that's literally the size of him, and he's carrying it on his shoulder. And I was just like, okay, I'm 1% interested. You've got, what is it, the Leonardo DiCaprio line where he's like, you had my interest, but now you have my attention, something like that. I was like, all right, Tony Jaa, I'll bite.
But at a 1% level.
Yeah, at 1%, and then I'll see the trailer, I'll be like, trash.
Yeah.
Top to bottom.
I mean, it sounds awful, man. Because when he mentioned Mila Jovovich there, I thought you were going to mention. I thought you were going to say another Resident Evil.
Oh my god.
But then it probably got a bit worse.
Oh no. Well, that's all for this week. So let's get into some Uncharted.
Woo!
All right. So now it's actually quite good that not good. That's not the right term. But it's quite apt that Dave's not here because Dave has famously not played any of the Uncharted.
I think it's really good.
Oh god, he's not gonna like that. It's three now. So let's start by saying, what do you remember? Because we're talking about 2008 now. It was 10 years ago. Actually, I tell you a thing. I saw on Unilad Gamer either yesterday or the day before was the day that Uncharted came out,
Oh, really?
like 10 years ago.
Wow.
So that's
Okay.
very apt. I'm sure.
So we're hitting this at the right
we're
time as
hitting
well.
it spot on. We're just a decade late.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's good. What's good with me is I didn't own a PS3, so I have played Uncharted. The only ones I've played is 1 and 4, but I've played them both in the last 3 years.
Oh, that's good.
So I mean, don't expect us to know the story in and out. You know me.
Well, just recite it if you would.
Yeah.
It's about a guy named Damon Drake.
but I did pretty much remember all the characters.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's quite clever because it does keep its cast small.
Yeah.
There is pretty much there's the 3 heroes, and then there's usually 1 big villain, and then like 2 henchmen.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of what they do for every single game.
And obviously, Sully's your boy.
Oh, aye.
Like I say, I'm glad you're doing just the first one because the only ones I played is 1 and 4. I thought 4 was absolutely brilliant, by the way. I thought it was great.
These are ones that I really do have looked forward to doing because there's just something about the Uncharted, like the way it looks, the music. To me, it is. I prefer Uncharted to Tomb Raider.
Oh, yeah.
I really do.
I think the characters are very, very lifelike as well. Like they talk very naturally, and I think it's great. I think that's why it's perfect to make into a film as well.
Oh yeah, and we will get into that.
Yeah.
But I remember because when I first got my PlayStation, I didn't get a PlayStation 3 straight away. I think I got it like 2010, let's say. And I remember when I first got it, the first game I was given was like whatever, a FIFA. And then I got that Buzz, the quiz game.
Oh yeah.
I got that.
Class.
And then the second or third game that I got was Uncharted from Game, at the Silverlink. So that tells you how long ago that was.
Yeah.
I think was it a game? I think it was a Borders. And then there was a game inside the Borders,
yes,
and it was £10. And I think it was my actual birthday because I think we went to Pizza Hut, and I remember correctly, it did not go well. I think there's just to get into it. This is the weird thing because people always say that I've got a fairly bad memory when it comes to like important things, but then for little things I remember loads of things. So I remember that on that birthday, the pizzas took too long, and they comped the whole meal. And then gave us vouchers to come back again. Oh. To which we never went back. So where's those vouchers, Lynn? Where they at?
You could have given them to someone, man.
Could have given them to me. I would have eaten them. I'd have went the next day.
Try and find them.
I thought it was great. I had no quarrel. So that's and I remember going, and this was again. Don't forget the time before you had to put a game disc in and then wait for the bastard to install.
Oh yes.
We just put it in. And I was like, look at how good this looks. And they were like, go to bed. I was like, I don't like this game. Of course, I was at. I think I would have been in my last year of school at the time. I think I was in 6th form, so I still would have had to have gone to bed when my ma said.
Yeah, of course.
So let's get into the story, and then we'll get into. Then we'll do the. And then I've got a little bit about how the attempts to bring it to the screen so far.
Yes. Which
is actually longer than the story itself.
Wow. Okay.
And then
I think you've touched on it before, haven't you?
I've got my fingers all up in this piece. So, as the game opens, treasure hunter Nathan Drake, accompanied by reporter Elena Fisher, recovers the coffin of his self-proclaimed ancestor Sir Francis Drake, which he located from coordinates inscribed on a family heirloom, a ring Drake wears round his neck. The coffin contains Sir Francis Drake's diary, which gives the location of El Dorado. Pirates attack and destroy Drake's boat, but Drake's friend Victor Sullivan rescues the two. When Sully and Drake follow the diary to the indicated spot, they learn that El Dorado is a large golden idol that the Spanish had tried to remove from the island centuries ago. After finding a U-boat, mercenaries led by criminal Gabriel Roman intercept Drake, Fisher and Sully. Sully is shot, which happens in numerous games now I've discovered. Sully is shot, but Drake manages to escape to an island where Sir Francis Drake's diary claims the idol is located. On the way to the island, anti-aircraft fire forces Elena and Drake to bail out of the airplane and they are separated. Drake heads towards an old Spanish fort to find Elena. Though briefly captured, Drake and Elena reunite and flee to the old customs house on the island. There they find Sully has survived his gunshot wound. Drake discovers that the idol is located near the customs house and finds and rescues Sully. Drake realises that the idol is cursed and that it turned the Spanish and Kriegsmarine, I'm going to guess that's like the German U-boat people. Oh yeah. It turned all of them into zombified monsters. Drake attempts to stop Roman from removing the idol from the island and arrives in time to stop Atok Navarro, a man hired by Roman to find the statue. Navarro tricks Roman into becoming cursed. Drake then jumps onto the statue and rides it as it is airlifted onto a boat in the bay. There he defeats Navarro and manages to sink the idol at the bottom of the ocean. Sully arrives and Elena and Drake leave the island with several chests of treasure after displaying affection towards each other. Now, this is the only issue I have with Uncharted, is that it dallies with the supernatural.
Oh yeah.
In the same way that the Tomb Raider dallied with, like, there's a dinosaur on this island. You're like, no way, it's not possible. Like, what are you talking about? So there's always that level, and this goes. I don't think it wasn't the fourth one, if I remember. I might be wrong about that, but that always seems to be like, it's totally normal, totally believable, and then all of a sudden he's fighting skeletons. Yeah. And you're like, your mind would melt. Yeah. If this happened to you.
Yeah, of course. The reactions aren't really there.
Yeah. They're like, oh no, that's craziness.
Yeah, I don't think it happens in the fourth one. I think that's just people that he fights in the fourth one.
He is also a straight up murderer.
Yeah.
Like he's James Bond, Indiana Jones level murdering people.
Well, no, this is it. This is what the thing I've always found with it. He's such a nice, likeable, light-hearted kind of. He's always happy guy, but he's went through some shit and he's killed a lot of people.
Like he has literally held people over the edges of cliffs and let them go.
Yeah, like viciously killing people as well, cutting heads off and that kind of stuff. Yeah,
fighting with machetes.
And he's not the kind of person you'd expect to be doing that.
No,
he's a clean-cut kind of guy.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing. That's the one issue I would ding it on, is that there's always this thing of like, he's killing an awful lot of people.
Yeah, the realism kind of goes out the window.
And then all of a sudden, some sort of curse happens, and you're like, okay, I sort of buy it and I sort of accept it, but if this was your first ever time treasure hunting or whatever, and you came across zombies, you'd be like, can you believe this? Okay. Like, we should capture one of these and take it back to the mainland.
Not even that, man. You'd run away straight away.
Oh yeah, sure. My first thought would be, who can I push in front of this thing?
Yeah, I mean, you can play the guy as brave as you want, but put a bloody skeleton in front of him. I don't. Everyone's reaction is going to be the same.
Yeah, that's the only thing that, and I think again you forget about that when you're like playing the game. It's not until you sit and read this and you're like, he fought zombies at one point. Yeah. Like, who wouldn't you tell it? Guess what I did? Yeah. Especially in the day and age of the camera phone. Yeah. That's all I'd be doing.
It's Jesus Christ. Gives 10 minutes I need to notice about this.
So, how about this? So this is longer than the section I just read, and it's about trying to make the film. Mm-hmm. So it first started in 2008.
So when the first time the game
came out, immediately they were like, we need to turn this into a film. And some screenwriters were hired. And in 2009, it was confirmed by a producer that the Uncharted film had been in development for a year and a half. Nathan Fillion expressed interest in playing Drake and started a campaign on Twitter for them to hire him.
Which would have been a good time for him to do it.
Exactly.
When he was at the right kind of age.
And then in 2010, David O. Russell, who was Silver Linings Playbook, director of that, was hired to write and direct Uncharted Drake's Fortune, a film solely based on the first game. Right. Now this is where it gets weird. In November 2010, on November 24th, my birthday, 2010,
nice.
Mark Wahlberg stated that David O. Russell was currently writing the script, and this is his quote: "I'm obviously in whatever David wants to do, but the idea of it is so off the charts. De Niro's my father, Pesci's my uncle. It's not going to be the watered down version, that's for sure."
And also, happy 21st birthday, Dan. I'm sure you would have said that as well.
It would have been my 18th.
In 2010?
2010, it's 8 years ago. It would have been 21st, yeah. Yeah, my great secret is I can't count. But yeah, so without De Niro or Pesci being mentioned, he just releases that on like a red carpet event and says, "We're doing Uncharted. By the way, De Niro's going to be Sully, who's actually going to be Drake's father, and then Pesci's going to be some uncle." So again, immediately like red flags. By May 2011, David O. Russell dropped out of directing, and then Neil Berger was hired. And now Neil Berger made the film Limitless. Right. That's the drug film with Bradley Cooper. And he had a whole he was going to rewrite the script from the start. He was a huge fan of the games, and he really wanted to do something that was a little bit rom-com, a little bit of make Drake a little bit of a hustler,
and get a really good balance and really find a good story that supports kind of the action sequences. By 2012, he dropped out.
Right.
And they hired a new team, husband and wife writers, to write a new film. Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg were asked to write the film numerous times, but declined every single time.
That's extremely random.
2014, Seth Gordon, who was just made the Halloween and was making obviously Pineapple Express,
right,
with Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, he was hired to direct the film, and David Guggenheim was going to write the script. Production was set to start in early 2015 with the release of June 10th, 2016. In November 2014, they hired Mark Ball to write a new script. Wahlberg dropped out, and Chris Pratt entered the scene to play Nathan Drake, and then he rejected the offer.
Because he probably had a lot of things going on at the time.
2015, I would have thought it would be for Jurassic World.
Yeah, I mean, that was a big year for him, I think, actually. Didn't one of the Guardians of the Galaxy films come out that year? Or was that 2014?
I think he had Guardians 14 and then Jurassic World 15. So he would have done Guardians of the Galaxy, and they probably would have offered him Jurassic World and Uncharted, and he went, which one do you want?
Well,
he was like,
yeah,
I'm going to pick Jurassic.
Of course.
Seeing as you've tried to make this film for 7 years and got nowhere.
Yeah. You can't stretch the guy too much either. Go on.
So after working on it for a year, Seth Gordon left over creative differences. In 2015, David Guggenheim's script leaked after the Sony Pictures hack over the Kim Jong-un film.
Oh yeah.
So that script had to be thrown away.
But they didn't have to throw it away. What's the dangers? Why would they have to throw it away?
Because apparently people already knew it was going to happen, so they just threw it out.
So what? Like, if anything, that's good publicity.
And the film's release date was pushed back to June 30th, 2017. July 29th, 2016, Joe Carnahan, the writer-director of Smoking Aces and the A-Team movie, was hired to write the film's script. In September, the film was removed from Sony's release calendar. By October 2016, Sean Levy, who is currently the guy still attached as director, joined it. So Joe Carnahan wrote a script, and Levy is going to direct it. Apparently, they're both fans about the game of the games and are very knowledgeable about kind of the world they want to make. Mm-hmm. Filming was set to start in early 2017. But then Stranger Things came along and took all of Sean Levi's attention away. But then in January 2017, Joe Carnahan posted a photo of the script on his Instagram. And then it was confirmed, was it last year or earlier this year, that Tom Holland will play a young Nathan Drake, and the film will be a prequel to the games.
Okay.
And as of the last update, a TV writer named Rafe Judkins, who didn't even have a Wikipedia page, so I couldn't look anything up about him, was brought on to rework the script.
Okay. Rework the script, which was definitely going to
So
happen.
they've went, here's a director, here's a writer, both got massive talents, both love the games, here's the script. Tom Holland read the script, said, I'll do that script, and then they've went,
we'll change the script.
We'll give it to someone else and they can have a look at it. So we're already this close to like Tom Holland being like, well, this isn't the script I signed on to do.
So is this still the closest we've been to having it?
Sean Levi has said that next year his big project is getting Uncharted filmed.
Okay.
For a release in 2020.
Okay.
So that's what we're waiting on. So
how bloody hard is it, man? It's all the source material is there for you. It's not that hard to do, surely.
And for 4 years that we're working. So for 2-3 years they were working on a script that was based on the first game, but was going to have a completely new character. Yeah. He's going to have two Sullivans effectively, and then they threw that away. And they got a guy who was a massive fan of the games, but then they didn't like his idea. So they brought in someone who wasn't a fan of the games and they didn't like their idea. Didn't like their idea. Then they brought in, the guy who makes Seth Rogen comedies. They didn't like his ideas. So it's messy, very messy. But a Tom Holland Indiana Jones style film could work.
Yeah, it doesn't sound bad at all.
So I like him a lot.
Yeah. I mean, he is still really young though.
He's very young, so he could definitely play it for years to come.
Yeah, he could grow up as Nathan Drake kind of thing. He could, in 5 years' time, they could make another one, and he's well into his 20s, which I don't think Nathan Drake in the first Uncharted must be that much older than that. He must be under 30 in the first Uncharted.
I would have said he was probably like, I would have said like 29, 28, and then because then by the last one he must be in his 40s or something like that.
Approaching 40.
10 years later.
Yeah.
Because his brother's probably like 5 years older than him, and that would put him in his like 50s or something like that.
Yeah.
Then of course there was the fan film, the 50-minute short film starring Nathan Fillion as Nathan Drake, and pretty much, and I also had Stephen Lang as Victor Sullivan, and I'm going to probably butcher this name, Mercia Monroe as Elena.
No, that's right.
And they obviously did loads of the same camera angles. They did the kind of when he does the big jump, the camera followed him, and then it went in front of him and stuff like that. So they did loads to try and obviously make it look realistic.
Mm-hmm.
Now again, that was kind of just done for fun.
Yeah.
No money involved.
Which again seems crazy to me. Like getting big name, like people who are actually working at the minute, actors.
Yeah, like to get like Stephen Lang to turn up and just stand next to a car and smoke a cigar. It's not much, but if he's doing it for free, and he's
not doing it for free, surely.
Well, it's how would you get people like where's the money coming
The guy
from?
funding it is got more money than he needs. He needs somewhere to put his money, and that's what he's doing.
Or he's a friend of Nathan Fillion, and they've went, let's do this.
Yeah.
And Fillion's putting the money in.
Yeah,
and Fillion could like, I'll ring Stephen. He'll come and do it.
He's got his contacts. Yeah, of course.
Stephen's got a mustache right now. He'll do it. So yeah, but I mean, it's a good little short film. I do think that, I mean, I 100% agree. If it was made 10 years ago, you could have done it with Nathan Fillion.
Mm.
The Uncharted name would have been so big that it wouldn't have mattered that who was playing Drake really. So you could have just went, yeah, it's Nathan Fillion. He would have a lot of like, I know he's got a lot of cred in the nerd world and stuff like that. So, but yeah. So I mean, what did you? I mean, it's probably been a while since you've seen it, but did you? When you saw it, did you rate it? Were you like, oh, it's a shame that this isn't kind of happening, kind of thing, or?
I don't think I put that much thought into it, but it was good. Pretty good.
That's all we can ask for. That it's good. It's disappointing that it took them. It's taken people more than 10 years to be like, we're not fully happy with this script. Yeah. Yet these three people could have knocked this up together. Yeah, absolutely. In a couple of months.
That's it. It really highlights how priorities can be wrong. You know, it's like it shouldn't be. If it's a project that you're really passionate about, something you've got a vision of doing, it should be done a lot easier than that. Like, you know, saying that, I don't know the technicalities, and I don't know what's happened behind the scenes. So
well, that's the thing. It's all smoke and mirrors. But I've never seen anything as much as this.
Yeah.
It's very strange. It's very strange that, you know, you've got these producers who are on hundreds of thousands a year, and they're just giving people blank checks and saying, as long as you write this script, I'll pay you X amount before you finish it, and X amount when you finish it. And then they can read it and love it, and then they can show another producer, and the other producer goes, I don't like this.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, it's crap. Throw it out. But that person got paid $100,000 to write this terrible script.
Yeah.
And now you're going to go to someone else and
that everyone loves before.
Why don't you write a script?
Yeah.
So it's weird.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get into who we would cast in Uncharted.
Just before going into it as well, well, I noticed we haven't got Dave's choices this time.
No, we've got nothing from Dave. Nothing at all.
Nothing at all.
So I'm probably going to guess he'd probably cast Wesley Snipes as Eddie Raha.
Okay.
I'm going to guess Christoph Waltz as Sully. And also Christoph Waltz as Nathan Drake.
And Elena Fisher.
You definitely would be looking at
Kiefer Sutherland.
Rosamund Pike. Kiefer Sutherland. That's what. Yeah. And I say we'll. You never know. He might want to put the effort in. He might not. Next time we see him.
Yeah, of course.
We'll get his hot takes. But so we'll do effectively least important to most important, I guess. Now Eddie Raha, he's not mentioned in the story at all, but effectively is just a hired goon.
You didn't have him in the list.
No, I said. Remember when I said you the thing? I said Fisher. You said Fisher twice, and I said, "Oh no, Fisher's supposed to be."
Yeah, you know what it is. I took him out, and I didn't. I took Fisher out, and I didn't do it again. So I haven't got one. I'm afraid for Eddie. But like you say, he's the least important character.
Yeah.
So.
Well, he's I looking at him, he looked like Eddie Gordo.
Yeah.
And then I read up that he was actually Indonesian.
Okay.
And I was like, oh boy. And I just picked someone from the raid.
Okay.
Joe Taslim, who's not the main guy, but I think he's just one of the people from the raid. I was like, he'll do.
Yeah.
I know he's trying to break it into Hollywood right now, so let's give him a leg up.
Well, okay, I'll just make one up. My choice would be the guy who played Eddie Gordo in the Tekken.
Oh, Lateef Chowder.
That's the one.
Chowder.
Let's just say that. Chowder. Did we do that last time?
Probably.
We did that in the Tekken podcast, I'm sure.
Say Chowder. Never. Again, The Simpsons. Wonderful.
There we go.
Give them an Oscar.
Yeah.
So Roman.
Roman.
So this guy is British, and he's a classic British white-haired villain.
Yeah.
Very much, you know the I forget his name, but the French guy in Indiana Jones. He's like Indiana Jones' rival, and he's French, and they're frenemies kind of thing. I feel like he's kind of pretty much based on that guy because that guy had like white hair and he was older.
Oh, yeah.
And I went for my first thought was someone like Anthony Hopkins.
Right.
And then I was like, there's no way you're getting 70-year-old Anthony Hopkins running around the jungle. It ain't happening.
Yeah.
So I thought I would go a little bit younger, and someone who's a bit more of an active kind of actor, Kenneth Branagh.
Oh yeah.
Just thought he would be like, I wanted a thespian.
Of course.
I mean, you could have had like Ian McKellen or Patrick Stewart, but I just thought like if you go too old, you're just gonna look silly.
For mine, I focused more on the villain side of things. Someone who I think would play a good villain. He's not British actually, but I don't see any reason why he couldn't do a British accent. He's got the perfect looks, and again, good villain. Neil McDonough.
Ah yes. Is he? I feel like he is like the go-to guy for like if you want a villain on like any TV show.
Well, I've seen. I think he's in a film called Game Over Man, which has been put on Netflix over the last year.
Yes.
And I mean, it's slightly spoilers for that film actually, but it's been over a year. He is the fake villain in it. You think he's the villain for 90% of the film, and that's because plays the perfect villain.
He's an Iron Man Mandarin kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
God, I should have picked Ben Kingsley. He'd have been wicked at this.
Oh, he would have actually, yeah.
Oh, forget this. Let's start again. So, welcome to the next episode of Graphic. Now Navarro. Now we have cast a lot of Latino actors.
Yes.
We are running out of famous names. I think it's fair to say.
I used one that I've already used, but I think he's even more suited to this part than I did with the last one.
Well, I went for Benjamin Bratt, who is kind of. I think he was more of a TV actor. I think he was like a cop on a TV show in America, but he's been more and more in films. I just watched Coco, so I pretty much went through the list and I was like, I don't know any of these people's names other than like the famous ones.
Yeah. And
then I saw Benjamin Bratt. I think you might have seen him. Do you remember Doctor Strange?
Yes.
You know the guy who's playing basketball and he's like, oh, I went to Comatage and I was saved.
To be honest with you, I think I know the guy because he was one of the people that went through my list as I was trying to cast this guy actually, and I did recognise him.
He's also the in the Halle Berry Catwoman film. He's like the love interest.
Brilliant. Like
a totally like emasculated man who's like, I'm a hard man, and she's like, I'm a Catwoman. He's like, oh.
Sit down, Benjamin. Well, I went for again. It is someone I went for before. Diego Luna. It was from Rogue One.
Yes. Did we talk about the fact that they're doing a Rogue One prequel TV show?
No.
They're doing a Rogue One prequel TV show, and it's going to star him.
So that's another Star Wars TV show.
Yeah. So there's a second Star Wars TV show, and it's like Star Wars, like Rogue One, the Cassian Diaries or something probably.
Oh, cool.
But it's about him being like undercover, like trying to work out things, like again, like going all in on Star Wars on TV whilst also saying like Star Wars at all. Actually, I'll tell you something that I saw. I read apparently that Luke Skywalker, again, this isn't spoilers because it's all just rumours, but if you didn't want any spoilers or rumours at all for Star Wars, then turn off for the next 1 minute. But apparently Mark Hamill is coming back, but not as a Force Ghost.
Right. Well, how does that work? So this isn't a prequel?
No. They're saying that he's going to come back.
This isn't the actual
in
next
episode 9.
canon Actual episode 9.
Apparently, they're bringing him back, but that he's not coming back as a Force ghost. He's going to look normal, which is just like, well, hang on, well.
So why
So
is he Force
so
ghost?
is he either not dead, or are you just throwing out the whole like Force ghosts are in blue?
Unless it's flashbacks.
Could be flashbacks. It could be flashbacks, maybe. But then it's like flashing back to like the 2 days that she was on that planet with him.
Yeah.
Which is kind of
I mean, it might be flashbacks to the time that he was on the planet. It could be flashbacks to way before
maybe,
that.
Maybe like visions. Maybe she's seeing visions of like maybe he's giving her like Force visions.
Yeah. Maybe someone telling the story of Luke Skywalker, you know, and the parts that he didn't see of him. I don't know.
Yeah. I am looking forward to the next one. Hopefully, apparently it's a very big. Apparently they had a big meeting of like, everyone hates this film. How do we make sure they don't hate the next film?
Hate's a strong word, surely.
Well, a lot of people didn't like it.
Yeah.
And money talks, bullshit walks, as they say. Right. Speaking of.
So yeah, Diego Luna. I thought he would be perfect in this part. I've never seen him do a villain.
He's been in loads of. He's another one of those things where he's been in loads of things, and that you don't think like you never. I don't think you ever thought about him really.
No.
But I'm sure he's been in loads and loads of different things. Mm-hmm. Now this is a big one. Sully. So, for argument's sake, he's already been cast as De Niro.
Yeah.
Previously.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think De Niro really fits that role.
No.
At all.
I'd love to see him. I'd love to be able to cast him in it because I want to see him in more stuff. Like I'd watch any De Niro film.
Do you want to see him in Dirty Grandpa 2?
Yes.
Was it dirty or bad?
I'm not going to enjoy it, but I want to see it anyway.
Was it dirty?
Bad
dirty
Grandpa.
Yeah.
No, Bad Grandpa is
Jackass.
Jackass.
Yeah.
Is
Dirty
Johnny
Grandpa.
Knoxville.
Yeah.
And is it just Bad Grandpa?
Is it just bad?
I think so.
I'm not sure. It's one of the two. So yeah, so De Niro was apparently cast. Pesci was playing his brother.
Right.
Not really what I was thinking when I think of Sully.
Dropped him into it basically.
Yeah, I feel like Sully is he's more of a con man rather than like a thug or a gangster. He's like a man who uses his intellect, and then when that fails, he just punches it in the face.
I'm not going to tell you my cast yet, but can I try and guess what you've put down?
Please do.
Liam Neeson. I thought I was going for like an A-team kind of Liam Neeson.
Yeah, I mean, that again, that's a good way. That's a good way to go.
Yeah.
If you could have a guy who's like, he used to be in the army and he always thinks one step ahead. And it's like that's how like he trains Drake to be prepared for the, the worst case scenario by training him for always have 3 escape routes, not just one kind of thing. Which is again a good idea, but I went for ever reliable, lovable Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks. All right, yeah.
Give him the white hair, great big mustache.
Oh, mate, yeah.
And like him and Tom Holland, I think it would be perfect. I think it would be electric.
That is brilliant, aye. That's brilliant.
And then just let him get shot again, and let him get shot in every single film, and then just not die.
Yeah, nice. My choice, and honestly, this is the kind of thing that you two would take the piss out of us for, just because of mustache.
Mustache.
But I forgot that the Sully even had a mustache, if I'm honest. I went for Tom Selleck.
Oh yeah, totally.
I've used him a couple of times recently. I used him for Red Dead. I used him as
Was it oh god, the sheriff.
Dutch.
Oh, you used him as Dutch. Oh yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I just think he's quite a respectable kind of bloke, man. Like he's a likable.
He's very quietly had a very successful career.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, not recently. I haven't seen him in anything recently.
Well, he's in that Blue Bloods.
Is he?
Like he's like, and that's been going for like 10 years or something.
Right.
That's why, like he's very like I think he does pick up awards and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, the TV awards are never as big, especially like American TV.
Not necessarily publicised, but if he's successful, he's successful.
Yeah. And he does have that because he was like wasn't he? No, he wasn't Knight Rider. He was Magnum.
Magnum, yeah.
So that would kind of be
that,
like, so get him back in the Hawaiian shirts and stuff, and just and then have him be like how do you know all this? He'd be like, oh well, I used to like make a joke that he used to be Magnum PI effectively.
And he's well at home with his cigars and that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, that would be really good. That would be really good.
Yeah.
And he's also like a star of the fact that if you wanted to kill him off, you could.
Yeah.
Whereas if you invest in Tom Hanks, you're looking at a 3-picture deal.
Yeah. So is he still in Blue Bloods? Because I haven't seen it. Is he still rocking his stash?
Oh yeah, I don't think he's.
That's part of him, surely.
Now he came back in an episode of Friends.
Yeah.
Later on, so we're talking about 2003, 2004, and he didn't have a mustache.
Right.
But in Blue
I remember
Bloods,
that, yeah.
since the beginning of Blue Bloods, he's had a mustache.
I think
So he lost it and grew it back.
the way I picture Tom Selleck, it couldn't be without a mustache. I think if he tried to shave it, it would probably bleed.
Like, I think it's more like like the shaver goes to it, and it's like, like this guy's got a mustache made of tin.
I'm just a picture him bleeding out.
Was it when Peter gets a mustache in Family Guy, and he's like, it's on fire. He's like, my mustache. Babidi boobidi, babidi boobidi. You can't speak Italian. I can. I've got a mustache. But yeah, I mean, and this one, like, you know me, I like to go for like smaller actors and like put them in like good roles and stuff like that and let them breathe. These ones, I went for 3 huge heavy hitters. I think these 3 people could launch any film. Yeah. Like,
including Tom Hanks, you mean, yeah?
Including Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks is number 1 of the trifecta of amazingness.
Of course.
Number 2, Elena, Margot Robbie.
Same.
Boom.
We're both one for Margot Robbie.
Now, if you were going for looks, I think you'd probably go with Rosamund Pike. She does look a lot like her.
I thought that as well.
But, and again, an Oscar winning actress, I believe, for Gone Girl, but not a very exciting actress, shall we say. I don't see Rosamund Pike on the list and go, oh, wicked.
I can just see Margot Robbie playing a really exciting but down to earth character, which I think is what Elena is.
Exactly. I mean, but the thing, because she's just a journalist, isn't she? That's all she is.
Yeah.
And she just happens to get
pulled into these adventures.
So that's it. She's the everyman.
Yeah.
So you got Tom Hanks. He's the thinker. You've got she's the kind of the carrier on her. I'm sure there's a better term for that. And then you've got Drake, who is the doer.
Yeah.
And he's like constantly, and then they can have like a classic like Romancing the Stone or The Princess Bride, like a classic like we don't really get along, and then as the story progresses, we fall in love. Whilst this guy behind us is constantly smoking a cigar. So
I'm dying to hear now what the third in this trifecta is. You're painting the picture so well.
Well, it's tough. It's very tough.
I thought you were going to... It's tough, you can't hear it.
Yes, I don't like it. Turn this off. It's tough because looks-wise, it's Nathan Fillion. 200%. And he also does look a bit like the voice actor Nolan North as well. So I was trying to think who would have the best kind of banter. And you go down the list and you think, well, it's not going to be Josh Brolin. It's not going to be Hugh Jackman.
I'm getting increasingly suspicious that you're going to say the same person.
It's not going to be Gyllenhaal.
No.
Someone like that. It's going to be someone...
Could be Gyllenhaal, but no.
Yeah, I mean, actually, well, to be fair, Gyllenhaal would have... That's the thing. If Gyllenhaal... This would be... You know how like Gyllenhaal did Prince of Persia? And they were like, this is going to be Gyllenhaal's Pirates of the Caribbean, and it just totally died. Yeah. This would be his second chance at a franchise. Obviously, like that's what with Mark Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg was Max Payne. That died. Yeah. So here's your second chance, Uncharted. But in reality, you're looking for a young Harrison Ford. And there's only one person who can, in Hollywood at this moment in time, off the top of my head, or maybe, after staring at IMDb for 2 hours, who I could think, this person is this person, end of. It's Chris Pratt.
Ah, right, okay.
It's Chris Pratt, Margot Robbie, and Tom Hanks. Those 3 together would be tremendous.
Yeah, that is true.
It's all improv, it's all jokes, it's all fun. You can imagine they wouldn't take themselves too seriously. They'd all get along.
And this is 3 people who pull people in. People go to see these films because these people are in it.
People would say a Margot Robbie movie, a Chris Pratt movie, and a Tom Hanks movie.
Particularly Tom Hanks. It's like, oh, there's a new Tom Hanks film coming out. Is a thing that people say,
Yeah. They're like, oh, Tom Hanks film only made 50 million. What a bomb. Like,
yeah.
50 million?
50 million.
Off of him?
Yeah.
Like, it was something called a hologram for the king, right? And it was a story about Tom Hanks trying to sell a hologram to the king of Saudi Arabia or something. It was another one. It was a classic, like...
I think I heard of that.
It was, or maybe Dubai or something. And it was a classic, like, obviously, like, some country, like, Dubai was like, hey, we've got a really bad, like, record here. People really don't like us. Let's do a really cool film about how cool we are and progressive we are. And we'll get Tom Hanks to be in it. And no one fell for it. No one really saw it. But it still made, like, $40 million, $50 million. And it was considered a bomb. But that's still, like, a lot of money to make for a film that's only got one star in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to effectively be a film totally set in another country with only actors famous from that country, and then just to be like, there's Tom Hanks. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then if you do it, like I said, with like Captain Phillips, he's the only recognisable star in Captain Phillips, but he just carries the whole film himself.
Yeah, I mean, there's been other ones came out from it after it came out, but like, you know, but when it came out, he's the only person anyone would have known in it.
He's unbelievable. I really do want him to do like a horror film. I really want him to do like a spooky ghost film before he dies, because then he's done everything.
I want to see him do everything possible. Really, I want to see a lot.
I want to
more
see him play.
You don't see that much of him anymore.
I want to see him play Woody live action. Yeah. In the live action Toy Story movie.
He's dressing up like Woody. Getting the arm movements and stuff.
Yeah. You've got to like the thing, so like his arms go really thin in the middle, and he's like Popeye.
They can do it. They've got the technology.
What is that? Is that the $5 million dilemma? We can rebuild him. We have the technology.
That's exactly what I was thinking. We can make Tom Hanks look like Woody. But
we can't make Tim Allen look like Buzz.
Yours is shaped up to look like a very different film than mine. By the end of it, I think I prefer yours. But I would still go and see mine. Mm-hmm. I've got Drake as Paul Rudd. I was focusing more on the cheeky, funny kind of side of it.
I tell you how it is. On that note, if we were doing number 4, I would have said Paul Rudd would be his brother.
Right. Okay.
Because I think
he's not old enough though.
Well, you could make if you give Paul Rudd if you like shave the front of his head and give him like long hair.
Yeah.
Because I think he was in he's been in something where he looks like a really old like he looks like an old dude. Is it My Idiot Brother or something? Does he play he's got long hair and a beard? But, he looks a lot older than he actually is. He looks a lot. He actually looks surprisingly. He looks older in Friends when he's like 10 years younger than he does in Ant-Man, because obviously he's got like ripped and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there's Anchorman as well.
But I do like Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
He would have the correct kind of mannerisms as well.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Cheeky, funny kind of thing. Like, you know, in Ant-Man he's doing it's an action, it's a comic book film, but it's also hilarious.
Yeah,
and that's what I kind of want with this as well, I think.
Yeah, and I think as well if you pull in like a Paul Rudd, it immediately opens the door to like Will Ferrell will probably make a cameo as someone. Yeah, and Steve Carell will probably turn up in a cameo as someone. Ben Stiller will probably turn up in a cameo as someone. Which would probably be difficult on like an island, a cursed island, but I'm sure we could find it. And no matter what happens, no matter who makes this film in real life or whatever, you've got to have Nathan Fillion like walk by. Like Nathan Fillion has to be like a bartender in one scene, and they have to look at him and be like, "You look familiar," and then they just walk away from him.
That's the thing with Nathan Fillion. He obviously looks perfect for it, and he could definitely do it. Like there's no doubt about it. It's almost as if it was written for him.
It's just a shame.
But I would just like other people to be in it. That's all. Like I'd like to see a Paul Rudd film over a Nathan Fillion film.
An Uncharted TV show. Nathan Fillion.
Perfect.
No problems.
Perfect.
But a 200.
Is that Firefly that does that though? Is it because we're used to see him in a series that we think, oh, he's not a film star?
Well, I don't. Well, to be fair, there are TV stars and there are film stars.
Yeah.
No matter what anyone says, film. I know TV's got a lot better than it used to be and all that stuff and whatnot. But there are people who are on TV, turn up in films, and they suck hard.
Yeah.
But then when they're on TV, there's something about them being on TV where they're okay.
That's
why people don't go from soaps to I was going to say Harry Potter, but they do.
Yeah.
But they don't go from soaps to like Deadpool. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Because there's levels. There's like soap, then there's TV, then there's like. So I'll give you a classic example.
Isn't the guy who plays the villain in Deadpool from a soap?
Well, he's British though.
Yeah.
So like Colin Farrell was in Ballycus Angel, and he literally quit, went to America, and was in Minority Report. Yeah. He went to Spielberg, loved him.
Is that the first thing he was in?
That was the first thing he was in, and he didn't speak with an Irish accent until 2003.
He seems like he's been a film star for decades.
So it was 2000 he got Minority Report, and 3 years later he did his first film where he had an Irish accent.
Right. Wow.
So that, and people just thought he was American.
Yeah.
Until apparently, like when they went to interview him for Minority Report, they were like, "Oh my God, you're not American."
Yeah.
And they were like, he was like, "Well."
So when he did Phone Booth, he hadn't been in Hollywood for that long then.
No, he'd been in about a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would have been his big like I'm a star. I'm the lead character kind of thing. That's a good film, Phone Booth.
Yeah, it's great. It's such a simple concept, but they do it so.
I met the director of Phone Book. He was a interesting guy.
Right. I think Forrest Whitaker did a lot for that film as well.
Forrest Whitaker. Now there's a guy who is like, we need a cop. Oh, I can get one of them. No, a damaged cop.
Yeah.
I'll get Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah. Get Forrest on the fun.
I need a guy who is like he's got like one really really wide open eye and one kind of squinty eye. Say no more, my man.
Someone who you just like will respect no matter what he's done. He could shoot a child and you still respect him.
But Forrest Whitaker again, he is another one of the classic like. He will turn up in low budget stuff and blow it out the park. Yeah. And then he'll turn up in huge stuff and you'll be like, why are you here? Yeah. But then he's like, well, I've got an Oscar, so it's like, it's difficult.
I think he's brilliant though.
But he is a totally amazing, totally amazing actor.
Captivating man.
But then he quite often does go over the top.
Right. And
you're like, sometimes like, I feel like in if you don't have the right director, like Forrest Whitaker just says, this is how I'm playing this character, and you've got no say in it.
Right.
Whereas if you've got like a Spielberg, I'm sure he'd be like, well, how do you want me to play this? Whereas if he's like, he's in Taken 3. Now you and I both know that the director of Taken 3 is not telling Forrest Whitaker anything.
No.
He's just like, oh, I put the camera here, you talk, no problem, my friend, I love you.
I'm bigger than this.
Forrest Whitaker's like, I will eat your camera if you tell me a goddamn direction. I will look where I want. You work around me, boy. Like,
did you just do a little Arthur impression there?
I just took over for a second. Like when he turns up in Star Wars and he's got like that crazy like half a haircut and he's got like no legs and you're like,
he did his own makeup there.
Yeah, it's like you definitely were like, my character looks like this, and they were like, I guess you've already paid to build the prosthetic legs.
Fair enough.
And he's going around like going, "More Gullet will know the truth," and it's like, that's not in the script, Forrest. I'm having to write scenes for you now. Who's More Gullet?
You're not meant to speak English at all. It's meant to be a strange.
It's supposed to be an alien
language.
It's supposed to be more capping you to be an alien. You're wearing robot legs. Oh, Forrest. Again, there's a little circle of people who are amazing actors who can get out of control. Nick Cage, Johnny Depp, Forrest Whitaker.
I can't believe you've just said Nick Cage and amazing actors in the same sentence.
They can't. Nick Cage with the right director is a good. He gave a there's a low budget horror film he's in at the minute and he's minting it. He's absolutely mint.
I've seen that.
But because it's a low budget horror film, is it called? It's just called like a woman's name or something?
Yes.
Isn't it? Shelley. No.
Charlotte or something along those lines. It's not that, but
and like he's mint in it because his character fits that film.
Yeah.
But if the film was a straight thriller, he'd be the villain.
Yeah.
John Travolta, another actor who's like can knock it out of the park, has knocked it out of the park, and now cannot seem to find the park.
No, absolutely not.
No matter how. I mean, we watched Pulp Fiction and Kill Bill Volume 2. Like look at David Carradine. Not a great actor by any standpoint, but put him with Tarantino and he's amazing.
Yeah, of course.
Tim Roth, not a great actor. Put him with Tarantino, he's a great actor.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of Tarantino, I absolutely can't wait for this next film.
Oh yeah,
the Manson family. He's got. He's saying it's his last film. Is that right? I'm
no,
pretty sure that he said that with the Hateful Eight, mind.
No, I said he was going to make 10 films.
All right.
And this is his 9th.
Right. Okay.
He wasn't gonna. He was gonna quit after the Hateful Eight happened, and then he was like, "Oh, I like making films too much."
But just the cast though, DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, it's basically he's always got all-star cast, but this
Margot
is
Robbie, isn't it? As well.
I think so. Yeah, but it's like the most all-star of all-star casts I've ever seen. I think.
And the funny thing is now it's like because you're like. He's dipped back into the well that he's already been in. That's how good he is. He's able to go like ring Brad Pitt and be like, "Do you want to work again?"
Yeah.
Leonardo DiCaprio, do you want to work with me again?
Brad Pitt, you want to work with Leonardo DiCaprio?
He's like, "Yes, I do. Thank you very much. I'll take Margot Robbie." And then you've got, I'm sure Burt Reynolds is going to be in that as well. And I think he's been replaced by some TV actor. But I'm sure And it's always interesting because he's saying it's not to do with the Manson family, but it clearly is because Margot Robbie is playing the woman who's Sharon Tate.
Yeah.
She's playing Sharon Tate. So it's interesting that he's doing like a Manson family adjacent film. And I'm sure he's cast someone as Charlie Manson.
Yeah, I'm
as
pretty
well.
sure.
So it's like it's very interesting.
I'm looking through the cast list now, man. I'm so excited about it. DiCaprio, Pitt, Robbie, Dakota Fanning, Al Pacino, Damian Lewis, Tim Roth, Timothy Oliphant, Michael Madsen, Kurt Russell.
Michael Madsen's definitely going to be in it.
Kurt Russell's one of the last names I've just mentioned there.
Kurt Russell's in it as
Yeah.
well. Wow.
Luke Perry, Emil Hirsch, absolutely just could go on.
Yeah, he's one of he's just such a talent.
Yeah.
And yet, he lost Best Film for Pulp Fiction to Forrest Gump, I want to say.
Yeah, well, it's definitely the same era.
And he's only ever been nominated for Best Director once for Inglourious Bastards,
Right.
which is not his best directed film.
No.
I don't care what anyone said. It's not his best.
It's still brilliant,
direction.
but it's
It's still like it was. Yes, it is definitely the top 5 of that year.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would have said his best directed film would have been Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah.
Because that is amazing.
Oh yeah.
I know Pulp Fiction is like a really good script, but like Reservoir Dogs, Reservoir Dogs immediately just throws away all the rules that they teach you in filmmaking.
Yeah.
And he just does whatever he wants.
Of course. Which is what you want.
But it is yeah. I do enjoy Tarantino. But there's not much. We've kind of gone massively off topic. So Uncharted film. It might come out, it might not. If it does, sounds like it might be all right.
Yeah.
Sounds like it'll probably be up there.
It's one like quite often cast these films. Quite often we say, oh, well, there happens to be a project happening. In the question you normally ask is, will you go to see it? This is one of the only ones that I'll say, yeah, definitely.
I think that this is definitely going to be. I won't believe it's going to happen until I see the trailer.
Yeah.
It's like Detective Pikachu. Until I see a trailer, it isn't happening.
Is it? Yeah, there is a trailer though.
There's nothing. Detective Pikachu.
Pikachu.
We just watched it. It's like the Sonic film.
Yeah.
I don't know the Sonic film's happening until I see some images.
Yeah.
And then we'll of course Grand Pitch thoughts.
I can't believe there isn't any images left, man. It's been going for.
There hasn't even been like released like a concept art of like this is what we think Sonic's going to look like.
Was there anything about how Jim Carrey's going to look like as Dr. Eggman?
Nothing. It's almost like it's not happening.
That's the main thing for me. Yeah.
So we'll wrap it up. So next week. So I'm away on holiday at the end of this week.
Yes.
So I'm back in the country on Tuesday. So we might do another. We'll see if we'll get availability for next week, and then I think we'll just what we'll do is we'll pick something from the list and move our way through it as we approach Christmas.
Yeah.
And then we'll probably won't be able to. We'll probably do. I'm gonna guess we'll probably do one probably in December, and then we'll probably take a break until the new year. Because we'll probably just be too busy with different bits and pieces. And
we might have got talking about Red Dead so much out of our system by that point as well.
Maybe we'll have all finished it. We'll just have a Red Dead episode in the middle of December.
We can talk about the story, which is mind blowing.
And then we'll probably end up talking about like best Christmas films or something like that.
Yeah,
which will obviously be Christmas with the Cranks.
Obviously.
And if anyone says differently, I'll go nuts.
Episode done. Like, what else do we need to say?
It was on the other day. Channel 5 already started putting It's a Christmas movie on every single day.
Really?
Every single day. 3 o'clock every single day for 2 hours is like a straight to TV.
Yeah, of course. I know exactly the film you're talking about, of course.
And then on Saturday and Sunday they actually have like a real, quote unquote, real Christmas film.
It's upsetting that they're doing this already. There's already a radio station dedicated to Christmas songs on as well. Is it Magic Christmas, I think it's called?
Yeah, I used to get it in the car when we had the satellite radio.
Started at the start of this month. The start of November. Constant Christmas songs.
Well, they've already had all of the Christmas like shopping nights, a lot of them in Newcastle. And I know it's obviously Black Friday this Friday. Because I think obviously in America there's a big thing of like doing Thanksgiving and then doing Christmas, whereas we don't have that block.
Yeah.
We just go. We don't even do. In Britain we don't really do. I was going to say we don't really do October. We don't really do Halloween.
No, we're just trying to skip that month.
Well, they do really. They're just like, oh, Halloween, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
We're trick-or-treating, we don't like it. And then we do, like, it's kids go back to school, then about a month, then Christmas starts, then we stop for Christmas to have bonfire night, and then we go straight back to Christmas.
Yeah.
So, yeah. We'll see you next time.
Cheers.
Thank you for listening to Grand Pitch Thought So. We hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to check out our other castings on games like The Last of Us, Silent Hill, and Resident Evil. Don't forget to rate and review the podcast on iTunes, Podbean, or wherever it is you download your podcasts from. And feel free to get in touch with us on Instagram and Twitter at JPTSPod and on Facebook at Grand Pitch Thought So. This podcast is produced and edited by Dan Hewitt. Grand Pitch Thought So is not affiliated with the motion pictures or video games reviewed or mentioned in any of the episodes. All movie clips and music used in this podcast are the intellectual property of the respective copyright holders, and they are included here for the purpose of review, and no infringement is intended.